Welcome back to the C++ Bootcamp. When we left off the last time, we had almost finished our solution that dealt with letter frequencies and occurrence. So let's do a quick recap. We have a string that we want to calculate letter frequencies for, and also for those letters that end up having an occurrence count that's greater than 1, we want to also include the index of the first occurrence of that letter. Now that's only for multiples. And also, let's go ahead and do this. So if we rebuild our solution and then run it with debugging enabled, you know I like to do that, right? We will see where we left off. So I set a breakpoint at the beginning and then I set a breakpoint at the end. And let's go ahead and run the session. So we run the debugger and we get back nothing yet because I have to actually hit continue. So I hit the continue button and we get back, okay, so letter frequencies, and then for each letter, the letter and then the occurrence. Not too bad, right? Okay, so that's 1 out of 3 pieces, and I promised you 3 pieces. So let's go ahead and implement the other 2. So the next thing on the docket is we want the letter that showed up the most. So if we take this string and let's see, if we take the string and then we move it down after this section, we're going to do a simple cout. And when we do that cout, what we're expecting to show, letter that showed up the most, so the letter colon the count. All right, so put this here and then we'll go back up to the top. So how do we get this letter and how do we get this count? So we already have everything we need for this answer, because we have, for every letter, we've already gone through and picked up the occurrences and associated them with each letter by using this idea of transforming the decimal value of the string to an actual integer index that is in the frequency container. So to solve this problem, all we really need at this point is, let's see. Okay, we need the letter and the occurrence. Now we already have the index and the occurrence count, but we need, let's see. What we need to be able to do at this point is convert. And what I don't want to do is another for loop when I've already done that here. So let's see. If I walk through the character string, as I walk through the character string, I'm picking up the index, and then I have the index, I have the occurrence, and I'm doing a +1. So seems like if I keep up with the index, is that enough? I think it might be, but okay, so let's do this. Let's say, if we say int most frequent error and then set it to nothing. I apologize if you hear rain in the background. We're still getting a little bit of weather, and that's okay. Let's keep moving here. Okay, so we're going to take advantage of the fact that our container at that index has an occurrence, and because we want the most frequent character, what we're going to do here is say After we've done this setting, we would say if most frequent character is less than 0, then we're going to set it to whatever this particular index is, because something is better than nothing right now. So the first time we come through the loop and we don't have the most frequent character index set to anything, we're just going to set it, right? And that's okay. All right, but the next time we come through, so the first loop, most frequent character is going to be -1. And we're going to be going through and looking at we're going to figure out what the actual character index is based on that character in the string. So the first time it's going to be M, that index, and that index is going to be 0. Now the next time what we need to do is we need to actually do a real comparison. So if most frequent character is not less than 0, because we've already given it an additional value, the next thing we need to do is actually check to say else if the frequent container value at the most frequent character index is less than the frequent container value at the index of the character that we're looking at right now. If that value, so if this occurrence is less than this occurrence, then we're going to update the index. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to make sure that by the time we're done looking at every character, we have the index of the character that is the most frequent. So down here, we're going to do something like it is not something like, but we're going to definitely, we're going to print the frequent container character occurrence value based on the most frequent character index. But now we have an index, we don't have an actual character. So now what we need to do is convert that character. So how do we do that? So we're going to turn this most frequent character index back into the actual character value that is represented at this index. Okay, so let's recap about, well, not recap, let's go back in time to when we figured out how to handle the upper and lowercase values here. So what we did was we said, okay, for every character in our string of 20 characters, we need to do a conversion. And that conversion will give us an index, and that index is going to be limited to the 52 spaces that we have reserved in our frequency container. So we're going to do the same thing now, but it will just be in reverse. So instead of trying to turn a number that's not in the boundary of 0 to 52 into something that is within that boundary, we're going to now take this most frequent character and reverse that process so that we get back the letter that it represents. So the way that we do that is so what we're going to do is say if we've got, okay. Also, here's another thing I want you to remember. So we said A through Z and little a through little z. So it's 26 here and 26 here. But in terms of our index, what that means is 0 through 25 and then 26 through 51. I think that is what we mean. So these two branches of conditional logic are what we're going to use to give us the clue that we would need to turn the index from the frequency container back into the actual character value of the index that it represents after we did all that modulus stuff. So we're going to say if most frequent character is greater than or equal to 0, and most frequent character is less than or equal to 25, then we're gonna we need to also have a, character. So most frequent letter, I'll say that. So if most frequent character is greater than or equal to 0, less than 25, greater than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 25. Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Okay, so then the most frequent letter, is going to be equal to character value of most frequent character plus 65, I believe. Because if the logic here is if we're talking about the first character, then it's going to be 65. So it's going to be the character value of this integer. And if that integer is 0, then 0 plus 65 should give us capital A. Because that's what we're going for. We're going for something that, instead of looking at it between 0 and 52, we're going to take those two from 0 to 25 and 26 to 51 and get something that actually is either an uppercase character or a lowercase character. So if it's equal to 26, then it would be, let's see, so 26. So if we end up with the 26th location in that frequency character container, then we're talking about 26 plus 65 plus 6. Okay, and the reason that it works this way here is because, remember, we ended up having to do the -6. You remember that? For the lowercase. So we're going to end up adding 6 plus 65 plus the value. So in this second branch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this logic to say, else if most frequent character is greater than or equal to 26, and the most frequent character less than or equal to 52. Yeah. So less than 26, greater than or equal to 26, less than 52. Okay, yeah. Then the most frequent character in this case is going to be most frequent letter, sorry, is a character, most frequent character plus 65 and then plus 6, because we had to -6 before. So if this works, then we should get a letter, and we should get the occurrence for that letter, because that letter showed up the most. So most frequent letter. All right, and you know what we're about to do. We're about to build the code and then do a debug and see if that worked. All right, builds are always a good sign. That at least means we didn't completely screw it up. All right, so continue. Okay, there we go. So the letter that showed up the most was A, and it has an occurrence of 3, and that's what we expected. Because 3 shows up the most. I mean, A shows up the most, and it showed up 3 times. Okay, so not bad, right? This is the second part of the trifecta. So now we're going to go ahead and do the last one. So the last one is, I'm going to actually I'm going to take advantage of the second array that I didn't really make use of, this occurrence occurrence container. So let's see here. Okay, now the occurrence container, notice it has 52 slots, just like the frequency container, but we're going to store something different in it. And remember, the point of the occurrence container is to do the following. So if I end up with a letter that has an occurrence that's greater than 1, then in that occurrence container, I'm going to store the index, which is, in this case, it's index 1. The index from the character string that represents the first time that we saw that letter in this string. Okay? And the output will look something like this, but because I actually printed it, I didn't print the string in order here completely. It's not going to look exactly the same because I didn't duplicate characters here. All right, but let's go ahead and do this. So the occurrence container, 52 locations. See now, what do I want to do? I want to do the following. While I'm going through this character string the first time, what do I want to do here? So all of these occurrences are initially set to 0. So I can probably do the following. I can say, so I got to bump it up first. And then I say, yeah, okay, so all I have to do is say if the frequency container error index equal to 1, what I need to do is I need to, okay. So if it's 1 now, then this is the first time that I've seen this character based on this index. So what I need to do, I believe, is just store in the occurrence container at that location the actual index, I. Because remember what we're doing, we're trying to keep up with the original location of that character in the string. And because we're leveraging the length of the string in this for loop, I believe all I have to do is this, and then, and it only happens if there is a character index that's represented here. So then, now that we've done this part, when we're printing out the letter frequencies, remember what we want. We want to also show this index only if the occurrence is greater than 1. So while we're printing these frequencies, okay, yeah. So we can add a condition here that just says if the frequency container char index is equal to 1, then we would only print the value and the value and the occurrence. Else, we're going to print the value, the occurrence, the value, the frequency, and the occurrence. Sorry about that. I'm trying to type and talk. Okay, so we've got the character, we've got the frequency, and then we would also have the occurrence. Wait, so yeah, this, and then the occurrence. So occurrence at the char index. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, now all we can do is, first of all, we build, and hopefully everything compiles, okay, and then we debug. And let's see if we've got what we expect. And if we do, we're good. Everybody tip your waiters. Okay, yeah, cool. So we've got the 3 and the 1 and the 2, because remember what we're trying to show is the first time that that letter showed up in the string. So the first time that this small a showed up was at index 1. So index 0, index 1. And I did the same thing up here, yeah, right? So you see, index 0, index 1, and then the big L showed up twice because you got little and you got lamb, but see, index 9, and that matches. So big L, occurrence of 2, first time it was seen is an index 9. So there you go, not bad, right? Well, hey, we've completed all 3 of the pieces that we needed for this particular application of the stuff we've learned so far. Next time we will, what we will do, I don't know, we'll just have to see, because it's occurring to me that maybe I need to start talking about pointers, since I'm talking about character arrays anyway, so maybe I'll do that next time. In any case, I mean, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this useful. As always, hit the like button if you like stuff, right? That's the proper thing to do. If you like stuff, say you like it. Even if you dislike it, please leave me comments. Hey, it is what it is. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get us all to the same place together. If you want to keep following along closely, then hey, subscribe. And that way, as soon as I put out a new video, you'll know. You won't be caught off guard. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.